Assalamu alaikum ikhwani, I'm going to be running through the 10 most common errors that I normally find, whether they be advanced, whether they be beginners, that people who are at a high level will most definitely capitalize on, so make sure that you correct these right now. The first one is going to be the Dutch guard. The mistakes that I normally see when people Dutch guard are as follows. The first one is the hands normally don't press up onto the head, they come out over here. What can happen with this position, as happened to Nong O, is that when you get punched in the hands, if your hands are disconnected from your head, as the person punches you in the hands, your hands will start hitting you in the face. So this will start to make you blink, this will start to put you at a disadvantage, and then when you start to blink and you can't see what the other guy is doing, that's when he can really start to capitalize and start throwing those heavy shots and knock you clean out. Just like what happened to Nong O, one of the legendary Thai boxers, twice. So please don't do that. So what we want to do instead is we want to put our hands onto our head here, so that when those punches come in, our hands don't actually hit us in the head, rather they are just there as a barrier. The next mistake that I see is that people leave a flimsy wrist. So from this position, even though the hands are plastered up onto the head, they don't actually keep a solid wrist. So when the punches come in, the wrist folds and it starts to hit us in the face. What we want to do instead is we want to keep a firm wrist here, so that when those punches come in, they land on the wrist and they bounce straight back off. And now nothing is going to be hitting me because this is a solid structure. And the last mistake that I see when people are doing the Dutch guard is that they stand way too upright. So from this position, the hands are up onto the head here, the wrists are nice and firm, but the back is all the way straight up here. What can happen in this position is that when those straight punches start coming in, especially in flurries, it can start to push me back into this hyperextended position. And now from this position, I'm on my back leg and I can't actually throw my own counters. So what I want to do is I want to base myself onto the ground, bend my knees so that I've got a solid structure, and I want to bend the upper back. So exactly like this, you'll see the difference now. This is the wrong way, like this. The correct way is having a solid structure, upper back is bent, the core is tensed, wrists stay flexed, the hands come up onto the head and they are plastered here. Now, when anybody throws any punches, I can block, take all the shots on the guard, and I won't move not even an inch. The second most common mistake is going to be not making your limbs independent. Ikhwan, you guys do need to understand that your limbs move by themselves. So if I put one hand on my head, this hand can move around freely without having to actually take this one off my head. What do I mean by that? This is more so directed towards the beginners, because what they tend to do is if I throw a jab, they drop one hand. Or if I throw a cross, they drop one hand. Or when I'm throwing the kicks, they tend to use all their body to try and throw the kicks. They don't let them move in a fluid, they don't let them move in a smooth manner. What we want to do instead is we want to use each limb for individual purposes. So if I'm going to throw this jab, my right hand is not going to move. I'm here, left jab comes out, my right hand stays exactly where it is. And this is what I want you guys to get used to. Don't use all of your body to try and perform one action because it's not necessary. The third one is going to be parrying. So parrying the straight punches. What I do tend to find a lot, even at high level performance, and this is something that you'll find from Kamaru Usman when he versed Leon Edwards, is that people, when the jabs come in or when the crosses come in, let's say for example this is a cross, they over parry really, really far. This is not necessary. This is a very small motion. From here, jab comes in, I parry, that's all. The cross comes in, I parry, that's all. We don't want to be doing this kind of thing because we're leaving ourselves way too exposed for counter shots. And just like in that fight, Leon Edwards, he faked with the left hand, he came over with that left leg and he knocked Kamaru clean out. So this is something which we definitely don't want to be doing. The fourth one is going to be clearing the face. What I do tend to find, especially when people throw teeps or those round kicks, is that people reach down and then they try to catch, or people reach down and then they try to catch. The problem with this is that you're leaving the head exposed. We always want to clear the face first, make sure that nothing is coming up in this direction, then we can hook, whether it's a body kick, or we can come downwards and catch the teep if it is a teep. But we always want to clear the head first, then move on to the catch. Don't drop the hand and then go for the catch, because it's very easy, especially for those guys who are good at the question mark kicks or Brazilian kicks or whatever the heck you want to call it. Very easy for them to lift the leg straight up and then they flick and come right up top to the head, And when that hand is down here, you're going to get clipped straight in the face. Number 5, Ikhwani, is going to be defending the body. A lot of the more beginner guys and even some of the more intermediate strikers, you do find that when they do either start to panic or when they're just new, when they're blocking to the body, they will drop the hand and they'll leave the head exposed. This is something which we don't want to do. When we block to the body, my hands stay up onto my head. From here, I simply crunch into my body. So my elbow wants to meet the side of my body. Whether I'm blocking to the front or whether I'm blocking to the side, it doesn't really matter. However, my hand never leaves my head. So from this position, I can block to the body and I can block to the head, and I can stay safe in both scenarios. Number 6 is going to be our slips and our rolling. This isn't boxing, this is real life fighting. You've got knees, you've got elbows, you've got kicks. And for us guys as Muslims, we're learning this for actual street fights because we're not going to be competing. So there, we don't actually have any rules. So what we most definitely don't want to be doing is slipping really low or rolling really low like the Mike Tyson style, because this stuff doesn't work. Slip just enough to be able to get your head out of the way and bring it straight back and come back with a counter. Roll just enough for you to be able to roll under that shot and come back with your counters. And a nice easy way for you guys to measure this is if the person's glove or the person's fist kind of brushes past your hair, then you've done it perfectly. Obviously in an actual fight, don't be paying attention to things like that. But in practice, when you start to put the reps in, you start to practice using this measuring stick, you'll move your head just enough to be able to get out of the way and bring it straight back without any excessive moving. Number 7, Ikhwani, is going to be elbow blocking knees. Now this is a last resort. This is something which you shouldn't actually be doing because knee versus elbow, the knee is going to win 99% of the time. So if a person throws a knee and I put my elbow in the way and I take the knee on the elbow, this is going to hurt my arm. So don't block knees with elbows. Number 8, Ikhwani, is going to be the cross block. Now with a cross block, what I do tend to find, especially when people are beginners or people who don't use this a lot, they'll make a number of mistakes. The way that the Dutch block should look like, whether it's to the body or to the head, I'll show you both. To the body, my hands are up here and it comes across this way. And to the head, it comes across this way. The mistakes which tend to be done is that you try to guess which kick is coming and you move the stationary arm according to that. So if you think it's coming to the body, you'll drop the arm down here. Or if you think it's coming to the head, you'll lift the arm up here. This is something which you most definitely do not need to be doing, because if the person catches onto that, then he is going to exploit the most available position. This stationary arm stays stationary. To the head, to the body, it stays right here, doesn't move. The only arm which moves is the crossing arm. So this right arm is going to move either to the body or to the head, depending on which kick you assume is going to be coming your way. Another mistake which people make is that they stay square on this way. So when they block, they stay square here, body's completely straight, and the only thing which is moving is the arms. This is not something that we want to do because you can't take full force. Turn the shoulders into the kick, really jam that kick with that crossing arm, take it on a solid structure, knees are bent, lean into the kick, take it on a very, very strong structure, and from here you've loaded up that arm and you can come straight back with your own counter shot, and that is for both sides. Number 9, Ikhwani, is going to be parrying the teeps. Parrying the teeps needs to be done on the closed side, not on the open side. The mistake which people tend to make is that they will parry the teep on the open side. So if it's this left teep, the person uses his right arm, the teep comes in, the right arm hooks, and he opens up my leg. From this position, if I am a good fighter, I'm going to capitalize on that very, very quickly, and my next shot, you've already prepared me for it. So what do I need to do? I need to make sure that the same arm is parrying the same leg. So if it's a left teep, front kick, push kick, whatever it might be, left arm is going to hook and parry out of the way. And if it's a right kick, the right arm is going to hook and parry it out of the way. This way, if I show you from this left side, this left teep comes forwards, and he parries using the left arm, my teep is going to get pushed over onto this side, and now I'm in a bad position. Without many available options for myself, Yet the other opponent has as many options as he wishes. So he can capitalize on this bad position that I'm in. Ikhwani, left to left, right to right, and that way you can get it down as best as possible. And the last one, Ikhwani, is going to be uppercut blocking, which a lot of people seem to struggle with. And usually what we see is that people will try to catch the uppercuts with the hand and drop the hand completely, and now you've left all of your face completely open. This is not something that we need to be doing. This is not something that we should be doing. The hands are up here and our elbows are very, very close to that person's hands. From this position, as I'm guarding up, I simply just put one elbow or both elbows in the way and I can block any incoming uppercuts. And that way I can keep my hands up to the head and I can block any incoming shots and keep myself as safe as possible.